Chief Meteorologist Mike Haddad with your Storm Watch 9 forecast.
Couple of different looks at Hurricane Lee. Right now, top sustained winds at 80 miles per hour. What you're going to notice is kind of the symmetry in this hurricane has been lost as a lot of dry air is working in on the southern part of that storm. Basically, it means it's starting to go through a bit of a transition into a more typical storm we see up here in the northeast. As of the 5 o'clock advisory, the top sustained winds remain at 80 miles per hour. Pressure holding at 965 millibars. It's moving north at 20 miles per hour. Now, that motion due north is great news for New Hampshire, even though it may try to arch back at us for several hours early tomorrow morning. It's then going to get the boot off to the northeast by the afternoon into the evening as either a tropical storm or an extratropical storm. In any event, it does come close enough for some impacts as we advance through the next 24 to 30 hours or so. And then by later at night, this thing is long gone as we track Lee moving away from New Hampshire. So what impacts can we expect? Well, the greatest certainly will be along the coastline, and that's where we start off right now with Haley Lapointe to talk all about those coastal impacts going forward. Hi, Haley.
Hi, Mike. And yes, there could be some big waves, Mike, as we go through to the overnight and into the day tomorrow. And so that, along with the winds, could mean some minor coastal flooding and splash over at the time of high tide tomorrow. In the meantime, there is a tropical storm warning, and notice it's just that sliver of the coastline. So the community is right along the coast, and maybe a mile or two inland would be dealing with some of the stronger wind gusts of near 40, 45 miles per hour tomorrow. Winds will be out of the northwest, which is a really good thing. If it was the opposite of that, out of the southeast, that would drive the water in just because of the orientation of our coastline. So if the winds were that away, be a much bigger problem with the water coming in, thanks in part to the winds. But it's the opposite. That's going to help things, and also just the storm itself is a bit more out over the open ocean. But regardless, the high tide times, there will be one just after midnight overnight, and then the one at 1:01 p.m. That's the one we're probably most concerned about, with splash over, beach erosion, and some of the stronger wind gusts about that time. So as far as the waves go, as this thing approaches tonight and into the day tomorrow, this purple color, 15 to 25 footers easily out in the Gulf of Maine here. But then right at about that high tide time, this is Saturday 1 p.m. Notice the orange color. There's the Isle of Shoals right in the middle of that. So that's 6 to 9 footers that'll be coming into the shoreline. So that with the winds means that there could be some minor coastal flooding. This map, the blue area here, showing our coastline and where there could be some minor storm surge. This map showing 1 to 3 feet. It's likely going to be closer to 1 foot. Splash over, beach erosion, low-lying areas may flood. So some of the usual areas, you know, those king tides that we sometimes get and how those can inundate the parking lots, some of the marshy areas. It'll be very similar to that. Let's talk more about the winds, though. We're going to go back over to meteorologist Mike Haddad for that. Hi, Mike.
And hello, Haley. Yeah, you pointed out tropical storm warnings for wind gusts of 40 or higher, especially along the coast. Also a concern for some higher wind gusts in northern New Hampshire. Wind advisory is up. We see wind advisories scattered about the entire year, but it does basically focus in away from the coast where we could see a better shot of winds of 40 miles per hour or greater, and a better shot of power outages in northern parts of the state, and also, of course, right along the immediate coastline. Speaking of which, these are the top winds we are expecting in terms of gusts, not sustained. So generally, 40 plus in and around the White Mountains and also right along the coastline, 30 to 40 mile per hour winds. Some gusts may get up near 40 to 45, anywhere from the Lakes region south, 25 to 35 in western New Hampshire. Rain, not going to be an issue at all with this storm, so we can check that box right off in terms of one of the 3 threats with any tropical system. Rain, flooding, freshwater flooding, flash flooding, none of that in the cards, as you can clearly see here. Take a look at the rain with Lee. It's staying long gone. Yeah, there could be showers overnight tonight into tomorrow morning, but as early as the afternoon, we could see breaks of sunshine along with those gusty winds. So kind of a bright and windy afternoon as the rain core slides off to the east, down East Maine, and surrounding areas. So around here tonight, dry all evening. Could be some showers that work in near the coast after 2, 3, 4 in the morning. And overnight elsewhere, it'll be dry with temperatures dropping to around 50 north and upper 50 south. After the stormy day for some on Saturday, lots of sun works back in. A beautiful second half to our weekend. Another band of showers on Monday that will actually deliver more rain Monday than we will see from Lee tomorrow. And then it's dry Tuesday through Friday.